showcase of all the Stone Soup workshops that the Writers Garret does. We have mixed genre, we have the prose and poetry, and we have poetry. And this is, I want to say it's the cream of the crop, but really the crop is the cream of the crop. Everybody that attends these are so talented that I really just have to throw a dart to pick the showcase. I mean, it's ridiculous. And our lineup tonight is very impressive. It's like I think of all these people as my friends. Like, these are all the loves of my life, and then I go to host a reading and I look up their bios, and then I just like, oh, I can't believe I used that person's first name. You know, everybody's just horribly impressive. So I'll do like a brief summary because the list of accolades and publications and readings and awesomeness goes on and on and on. I want to thank the Writers Garret for being the pot for our Stone Soups. I want to thank Lucky Dog Books and Marquetta Tilton and John Tilton. They are just the backbone of every community here in Dallas. And I'm just so honored to know all of y'all. And I'm so lucky that y'all are my friends. My life is good. Thank you. First up, we're going to have Christopher Soden.
Yay,
and he represents our mixed genre. So we'll do with the formal stuff. He has an MFA from Vermont College in Poetry. Creator, father of the Dallas poetry community. Published in many, many journals. The list was so long. Including Borderlands. He's been in Poetry in Motion. He was a distinguished poet of Dallas. Pandora's Box. And as far as Stone Soups, he's also he is the Stone Soup. He's the one. All of this came from him and all of his hard work and years of this. You know, it took 2 years for him to remember my name. I thought, he's such a rock star. Like, I was fine with that. He was even like polite and said hi to me. But, you know, he just said, you know, well, he always knew my name. He's so kind. But he really is the rock star of the room. I was just so honored. I was nervous to ask him to read. But he's just so gracious and loving. And I've had the privilege of reading with him. I have the privilege of knowing him. So that's the mission part. His upcoming, if y'all have never been to his Christmas celebrations, Pandora's Box is coming up with Krampus. It's December 21st at the Margot Jones Theater, and I'm sure it's Bacchanalian. Is it?
That's what we're aiming for.
That's what I hope. All right.
Absolutely.
And this year they're celebrating Krampus. So bring it on, bring it on. And he also this Sunday has a staged reading of his play in the series at the Margot Jones. And that's this Sunday. Christopher Soden, come up here.
Jolee, I want you to know that the past 2 or 3 years have been something of a blur, so please don't take it personally if I didn't always remember your name, because there are days I don't even remember my own.
Well, I have to say, I take it very personally that you know me all.
Oh,
I'm so happy.
I want to thank Jolee for organizing this event and for inviting me to read. I was so touched that you asked me, and I thank you, sweetie. Okay. Well, you know, when I entered the MFA program at Vermont College, you know, it's a distance learning program, so you spend 9 days of every semester on campus. And then once you've done that, then you go home and you send all of your work to your teacher, and they send it back. They say, you know, crap, you know, that kind of thing. And actually, I had some great teachers there, and I was very blessed. And while I was there, of course, I fell in love with another poet. His name is DJ Dalek, and he is straight. And it was one of the worst mistakes I ever made. It absolutely made me miserable, and I made a fool of myself. And so, with that in mind, this first poem I wrote to him. I wrote him a number of poems. And this poem is called Black Diamonds. I'm not sure how you ignited this smoldering clod of fossil fuel, clenched beneath rib staves, layers of tense, sinewy chest muscle. Is it radiant, stewing magma, like a vibe from my dad, those comical goggles he wore for astigmatism just like yours? His hair a lunar eclipse in November, or the sky when God is finally gone and through. Maybe you remind me of a boy I betrayed. Not nearly as splendid, I confess. I couldn't believe how easy it was to just close him off, another iron bandage to slow the beating down. It is not sufficient to say that I am bad news, though you couldn't find better company when grain and time and distillation have turned your blood to ash and molasses. I'm worse than strychnine, frosty stillbirth on a farm where they track cloud and tide, but ask no help from the Father of breath of light. I can only say I've known this since the night I made myself ask you, since the Christmas of my first phonograph and Superman cape. I am filled with chuckles and snot and solace and bad songs. I am filled with steam and smoke and teeth and clay and bones. I am filled with catastrophe and disaster, earthquake and hurricane, black diamonds spilling from my lips, and I am waiting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, I haven't written a lot of Christmas poems, but this is one of them. And it's called Not Me. Maybe I'm on I-30, headed for home, or waiting my turn at Tom Thumb, with rice and cokes and fig Newtons. Maybe I'm next at the dentist, and something comes on the radio. Something stupid, okay? It's not Handel's Messiah or some choir with a lofty message about salvation and redemption. And I'm not some fucking rube. I live in town with the traffic and phony light and cement, and I've heard them all dozens of times since before I could walk, just like everybody else. So maybe I'm leafing through Time or USA Today, wondering how I'm going to pay my water bill this month, and I hear some lame crap about shepherds or mystics chasing down an oracle and this kid sleeping in a feeding trough, like I'm sure a baby's going to care. Yeah, I know. The irony of a savior starting out in a barn. Whatever. But somehow the words are seeping into one ear because I'm distracted, as I said, and a line drops through to the bottom of the black ocean. You see, I can't explain it. I have no gift to bring. In that moment, I see this blizzard of pitch and muck and shit we crawl through every day. Everybody just shoving and biting and beating on each other. Nobody able to find enough time or room to just be decent to someone, anyone. All you hear is how they can't fucking stand you because your car died in rush hour traffic, or your kid is crying, or you need a box of macaroni that isn't broken. You're just something else wrong in their lives. Another kind of torment. Then I think of God squeezing through this curtain, this crushing, massive curtain of hurt and detachment and rage. This world that smacks you and chews you to pieces all the fucking time, and God pushing through like some greased up maniac crossing the English Channel, or silver catfish gliding down the stewy swamp just to make sure we know we're not forgotten. And I'm thinking, why? What difference does it make? I'm nothing special. I'm just another guy, another prick. It's too late. You can't do this. Not for me. Not me. And yeah, then I just break. Just break. Just break. Completely down.
Wow.
Now, this is yet another poem that was inspired by my getting a heavy crush on a straight man. So I can assure each and every one of you it's been the source of much material. This took place at a wedding, and the groom, who was a very dear and close friend, his sister showed up to the reception in this red dress, and I will probably remember that red dress for the rest of my life. It was amazing. So this one is called Goddess. How long ago was it that I saw Tom get married? I did not self-identify then as gay, though I imagine everyone knew, and I understood enough to realize I could not express contempt for the ivory bride in the same way as the others. I know he really loved me, but somehow the ferocity in my gut, the dark turn my blood took, was different. There was a chaotic harmony to our conversation, a grace to our brimming banter. I would dream of Tom coming to me in the tub, swathing my palms and feet in yards of snowy bandages. His sister Michelle wore a lethal red dress, scalding the air like poppies to the reception, a primitive codified revelation of the cyclical stream for the sake of flagrant, blinding intimacy. It was more than 30 years ago. Even I, the deluded, pathetic queer boy who had yet to suck a cock, could tell you how exquisite she was, far beyond the caress of me or any man. You can tear away every shred until there is nothing but raw, ridiculous flesh. You can scour your conscience till she knows every shameful crime that blackens you like ash. You can murmur prayers to her miraculous crux, worship her nipples so delicately that chills bring her closer to the grave. We reach and we reach, aching to swim the lunar placenta drench a gorilla hide in the milky song of undiluted mercy. She will never tell you her infinitely complicated smile stifles disappointment, that we are grubby, thick-headed altar boys spilling sloppy fluids at the communion of the Most High. And if that one didn't depress you enough, this one is called The Tank. And there are a couple of things I should tell you about it. I spent the night in the Lou Sterrett drunk tank last week. No. It was 25 years ago, actually. I spent the night there. And I have embellished a little bit. I've taken experiences I've had at other places and put it in here. But this is pretty accurate. And it's just called The Tank. The tank holds 38-year-old wiry white guy screaming obscenities over the phone to his girlfriend and only way home. A bearded Latino in shorts, his chest vivid with mural of elaborate tattoos, too sunk in despair to lift his head, though his lips move without sound. The redhead in yellow tee, still too muddled to comprehend the situation, everything, floor, walls, ceiling, covered in white bathroom tile, no windows, clocks, watches, belts, some guy with enough curls and whiskers to pass for Ezekiel, puke staining his faded green corduroys, is witnessing to who? He bellows for about 20 minutes before someone else growls, "Shut the fuck up." A black man in a blue wool suit kneels and sings quietly about God looking out for sparrows. An elderly gentleman with striped suspenders and horn-rimmed spectacles is dozing, though he could probably nod off during an earthquake. Wiry guy is still venting at ginger that everyone else here seems to understand is never going to come after being called a bitch and cunt and fucking slut. Every time the cop opens the door and calls a name, I think it will be mine. The soft-spoken fellow with brown hair explains that once a certain hour has passed, how would we know? The rest of us will be stuck here till sunrise. I do not believe him. He is kind enough to tell me I've spilled bourbon on my khaki shorts. No, I say, I pissed myself. Okay. These three are fairly recent. Let's start with how about today? How about today? I lumbered from a blinding slumber to piss away nuisance of dreams, jumbled and scruffy. I smeared cold bean paste on tortillas. I gulped some red juice or pureed elixir to soothe the searing throb of gradually cracking skull. I searched cyberspace for reassurance and wept in the shower as hot sud of shampoo wrapped my pathetic noggin in the veil of Veronica. I sacked up the garbage, tying up my package of moldy coffee grounds, fossilized dog shit, Q-tips, cheeseburger wrappers, nail clippings, the poem you won't be reading, empty plastic bottles, charity pleas I tossed, jockey shorts tainted with zillions of boy cads that never got a chance into the washer. I cranked up Green Day and bellowed my rage with Brother Billy. Exquisite in my blue jolt of agony, I summoned Mama from the other side and confessed my larcenies. I squeezed and smooched Chloe till her tail wagged and she squirmed away. I drove to the clinic where the bathroom is scrubbed and not pungent. I saw a young dreamboat cross at the signal and wondered if he was out of my league. I yanked on sandy trousers and cross-buttoned my wrinkled, laundered turquoise aloha shirt. I counted the meds that reconcile me to this black tunnel of terror. I scratched Zoe behind her ears and took Chloe out for a weightless bath of cold sunlight. I found a photograph of my parents dancing when they were sharp, gorgeous rockets. I begged God for a kiss. Now, this next one is called House of Yes. And I don't know how many of you, because really it's not about the movie, but it's about the idea that wouldn't it be great if we all lived in the House of Yes? So this one is just called House of Yes. Everything is white. The air cool. Soothing French avant-garde piano music asserts itself passively, its source impossible to determine. There is plenty of ice and clear, pure bottles of effective vodka, rum, gin, fresh lemon and ebullient mixers, cocktail glasses that could be assimilated sculpture you notice after the host has handed you a scintillating beverage and taken you in his arms, delivering a brimming kiss with his glorious hair, the shade of red you've always imagined, because he recognizes your ache, and after all, this is the House of Yes, where love gushes like the milky cure to all poisons, and nothing is wrong. Every motive, every wish, daffy with spilling jubilation and fallibility, the closest anyone comes to harm. But it doesn't matter, because in the House of Yes, clarity swallows every tear like an infinite liquid nimbus. Okay. This next one is called I Know That I Do Not Know. What is a flower, then? An eruption of dazzling color against a pale, untainted sky. A comfort to those left behind. A seduction to hot buzz of pollen collection. And what is milk? A fat drop of ecstasy, infinite focus to pink gurgle and squeal of wobbly gobbly newborn. Rich addition to rolling boil of oats or potatoes or chocolate. Slang for spunk, raw substance of tooth and bone. What is a kiss? A rough, urgent brush, a promise, an obligation, a pathetic search for authenticity or meaning. What is the moon? A mockery of solitude, your ache evinced in radiant stone, an oracular witness to spell casting, silent companion to an endless, disconsolate night. What is song? Courage in the maw of black terror, undiluted exuberance spilling, a boat to the river of dreams, a coyote searching for brothers. And what am I then but a fraud, a monkey scaling the altar, naked lunatic painting himself with blue stars, begging the Father of all fathers for grace. Thank you. this next one, you know, I've always sort of, I know it's going to sound kind of crazy, but I've always thought that Denny's was kind of miraculous because it's open all the time. It's like, no matter what time it is, no matter what day it is, you can always go to Denny's. And, you know, they'll give you pancakes and they'll give you eggs. And it's like, oh my God, it's so great. It's so great. Denny's is so great. So there was a waiter who used to wait on me a lot. And he was really great. And he was a really cool guy. And his name was Tim. And I kind of wrote this whole history for him. So probably, you know, who knows if any of it's true. Oh my goodness. Oops. Okay.
No,
So,
do it.
okay.
Yeah, hear it now.
All right.
Turn it even off.
Yeah. Yeah, time to go to Denny's. This is my kitchen timer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. So last poem, and you know, yeah, maybe one day I'll see Tim again. But okay, Tim. There's comfort, I know, in the perpetual breakfast, the warm, sunny yellow and orange, the fluffy pancakes slathered in extravagant paste of butter, the creamy white blanket of milk gravy, blessing biscuit, and shredded seared potato. There is comfort in glass doors, never locked, a refuge for the aimless, still awake at 4 hours and 53 minutes into the new day. There is an ache in my bones that has nothing to do with the insulin I inject, or Valium I absorb, or sperm that swims away from me like voyagers seeking a calm harbor. There is a blue jolt that startles my marrow sometimes, when I am setting down plates loaded with juicy slabs of meatloaf, fries concealed by dense, rusty chili, and haystack of cheese. Sometimes when I am brimming your tumbler with oceans of pico tea or the fizzy black rush of Dr. Pepper, I glimpse the first blood of your first cycle from last Tuesday, or the marriage that awaits you in April, or the pneumonia that will pounce next autumn upon the niece you were always closest to. I am happy to fill you with the ephemeral reassurance of warmth glowing in your belly, icy hydration to soothe your gullet. I am your radio to the secret and unforeseen, to the information freely dispersed among entities innocuous and toxic. I can reverse your flow with an accidental brush. I can restore your destiny with a Mickey. I can emulsify regret, disconsolate ruin, ridiculous and pathetic crimes with a single, merciless, defiant kiss. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Thank you so much, Christopher.
Wonderful dear.
All right, forgot to warn you, but you're up next, Gayle Bell.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thanks for telling me.
All right. Well, you were out of the room, you know,
Yeah.
doing what you do.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll do the scholarly thing, and just let you know, I just am madly in love with Gayle Bell.
And it's
Always
becoming,
have been.
always.
And I've got like I've just been blessed to get to know her more lately. We get to spend a lot of time together. She's up to Garret with me now, and I recruited her. And it's usually the other way around. Alright, so Gayle is currently finishing her first play, called The Life and Times of Lefty Bell. And Gayle's work to me, she reminds me of, well, I hate to do the whole reminds me of thing because I always get silly fast. You know, But you remind me of like I don't know, cross between like Wanda Coleman
Yay.
and Thelonious Monk.
Yay. Love
You know,
Love him.
and of course there's that part of you that's very big, the Gayle Bell part. It's unique. She has another long list of, publications and features, and so super impressive. And I can't believe she volunteers at the Writers Guild. I'm just going to read off this list. She's the 2013-14 co-exhibitor for My Immovable Truth, A Dallas Lineage, which is a facilitated oral history and performances. The exhibit begins to manifest the history of several African-American Dallas residents who openly identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and same-gender loving people. She's with a staff writer at Raina Magazine. Let's see, what else? Published by Jew and Lizard. Everybody remember that lovely man, William Bryan Macy.
Kick-ass editor.
Yeah, amazing guy. Amazing guy. He's a hellraiser.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, I saw him read one time. Wow. Wowee. Yeah, I think I traveled all the way to Fort Worth to see.
Get my husband in next time we see him.
She's been published in lots of places, including Gutter Elegance, Let It Bleed. Let's see.
Mad Squirrel.
Mad Swirl.
Yes, indeed.
Mad Swirl.
That's my place.
Can't forget the Mad Swirl. She's just horribly impressive. Come on up here, Gayla. I think the most impressive.
I want to give you a quick story. She's been asking me for this writing resume, and I've been dragging my feet because every time I read, it's like the first poem always, and the first place always, because I'm always afraid of getting this, what I call creeping ivy laurel syndrome, I call it, like where I've done this and I've done this and I've done blah, 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 shit. Because I figure there are classics that are being sold for $1.50 over here. That's what keeps me from falling into that. I hope I never fall into that. First poem, Wanda's Last Dream, for Miss Wanda Coleman. I love her. Rest in peace, lady. No one still alive should smell this expensive. What did not shine burneth the sun. This big man's blind dream. Politicians, preachers, and pimps all wear the same shoes. I saw it all, man. Why they had to die and those that had to be, it was right there in the dread trail of someone's drop. The one they sold everything for. Is this shiny enough? Built sexy enough for you? This your crave, man? He put his hand on the woman next to me who toothpasted me. It was all man, till the fire rained like the good wine. It rained till all around my lies. They bought them too, man. He laughed, that man. It was right there any time. The time was right. Any was the equation. The equation was the dream. Before the pain, before the fire, before the laugh, before the rain. It's good to be back. I meant to time myself, but it's probably going to be less than 20 minutes. This is called PSA 2015. It's in Mad Squirrel Poetry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Little postscript. What is that thing you called it? It was on where they put that little blurby thing, a picture that lasts a minute. What is it? A meme. Okay, whatever that's. Yeah, it was the reason for this poem is it was a meme And I don't know where I found it. I was just scrolling on something, and this poem will explain what happened on this beam, which is why molten lava was flowing out my fucking ears, which is why this poem was created. PSA 2015. To all the victims and survivors of the current genocides, Holocaust, and more specifically to the brother who wore deer antlers on his head while his white co-worker agents dressed in camo and guns posed with him laughing for the camera. Brother man, when you got up to shave this morning, did the foam on the mirror say nigga die? Or maybe I should just title this Dateline 2015, 5 nanoseconds of fame 2015, the predatory nature of, what in the hell? Am I still smoking that shit? I swore I quit 2 decades ago. Miss Wanda, can you hear us? Miss Maya, are we still communicating? Are the hailing frequencies still open? The 4 pings, are they a symbol for the summit? Or should I just title this Deadline 2015? That's why. Woo. Yes, indeed. I'm currently in I guess they're getting a relationship with a guy, and I have not been with one of those species for over 25 years. That's interesting. And the previous woman that I don't think I've quit yet, she's on the warpath, so this is love and all this complication. So, since he's not here and he was going to be here, I'm gonna read the shit that I wrote about it. It should have been here. What can I say? This is called Dawn. My soundtrack to you is called Someone to Love You by Rough Ends and Love Connection by Raheem Devon. This saga will be titled The Huntress Bow, or Hit That Head, Make That Ass Lay Down. Okay, fam, I didn't want to write this chapter because I'd be giving away too many magician's secrets. He's the type of man I told the Lord I wanted. He's the type of man I told my body I wanted. We were well met in battle with casualties on both sides. He's a walk in the country with butterflies, freckles, and a deep laugh that borders on the jukebox side of sin. When his eyes meet yours, they don't leave. We are that tenuous border of friends. We are jazz, blues, Cirque du Soleil, classical, mild, muddy, Lady Day, Chukka, decoding the gender wars. Foolishly I hunted. After all, I reasoned. We are both free agents. A chance like this may never come again. Like the chase, he is elusive, never without female company. Unanswered RSVPs for jazz breaks or lunch and dinner, no return calls. Good friends are like the ones that never come back from battles won or lost. But a good huntress is prepared to wait. A predator sharpens her tools with weights. I remove the snares, trip the wires. We talk secrets. They pour from me. I have no guile or cautions with him. I let him in the chamber of my oral soul. I stopped looking for seduction's conquest. He told me once, love is a growing tree. Something running whispered. A bomb chilled me. I told him I stopped searching for that grail a long time ago. A child drew a picture of a growing tree. I silenced the alarms, reformed my questions. He called my name like a benediction, a kiss that you bathe in every dream you felt, the paralysis the moment you touched me. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. This last one is called Afterwards and Beyond is going to be in the upcoming play, The Life and Times of Lefty Bell. This is the definitive soundtrack for the life and times of Gayle Lefty Bell. 57 years and the dust still hasn't settled. All my inner Gaylas are seated at my honors table, praised for their resiliency, cunning, smart toughness, wouldn't break, walk with dignity through these streets so mean, so mad, feel a soul, Della soul, feel a cootie, wild out, music revolution, full circle, on the mate, semi-retired, loving me immovable, put that petty drop song on, sway on the tip, sway on the thigh, sway my body, sip my lemon lime tea, subversive head, circa, LaWanda Page listening to Wolfgang. Listen to it pierce the marrow of my heart. Luna sweet like my Afro-Cuban soul. Big leg, hot water, sweet potato, honey sticks, smoking hot. Laughing at the shadows. Big 6 deuces, 20 twins, snapping, I dance the pain now, to dance the pain now, to dance the pain now. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
She represents our poetry workshop. Gayle Bell. Gayle Bell. Oh goodness. Okay. Next up, we have representing our prose and poetry. And yeah, I'm a little sweet on him, so, but he's really impressive. I actually heard his poetry before I met him. You know, he was this crazy janitor who wrote haikus, and they were like the most profound shit I've ever heard in my life, and they were just him rattling off haikus for cleaning supplies, you know. And so instead of writing a note like this is how the bar is, this is how what went, there was these wonderful things about like the trash of the civilization accumulates. I mean, it's just like, oh, and then there's great ones about, you know, a lot of vomit and stuff like that. You know, then I heard the stories after I heard, you know, the haikus. You know, he's probably the only person I've heard of, you know, going to Amsterdam and getting put in a mental institution for being too nuts. What?
Wow.
I was like, impressive, dude. That rocks. He's a rock star. You know, urinating on the Parthenon. Awesome. Awesome, my man.
All right.
Then I met him. Genius. So he studied engineering and physics at Texas Tech and Richland. Studied under Joe Stanko as part of the whole Club Dada crew.
Wow.
He not only studied under, but became family. I like the Stankos and the whole, you know, open invitation, can go anywhere he wants in their houses. And there's a reason for that, because he is also a very impressive soul. He's currently finished his third novel, entitled Cedar Bluff, or Death of a Mortician. He's going to be a future Pulitzer Prize winner, I guarantee.
Yes, sir.
I guarantee.
Sir.
And he has a chapbook of poetry with him today, folks. Lovingly titled, Who's Afraid of Eudora Welty? And I'm just proud to know him. Another love of my life, Dan Evans.
Okay, so yeah, the haiku went, civilization, the garbage accumulates, inevitably.
Okay. I like that.
So, yeah. True. Who's Afraid of Your Door? Well, yeah, I do have copies of this. $5 cheap. This is kind of old. I'm going to read a couple of pieces out of this, and then I'm going to read a bunch of new stuff. So, just sort of give you the gamut of, like several years ago and now. Little Ralphie Wiggum. 40 years ago, yeah, that was me. That fat, goofy kid, a spinning dervish in the schoolyard playgrounds, rotating around the pretty planets. A lonely comet farting vapor trails of lummy cheese sandwiches until dizzy and I dropped, chasing altered states even then. I picked my nose until it bled, then ate the boogers even while they watched. Why? Who knows? Same reason I ate crickets, or my fingernails, I suppose. Flavors no longer savored in jaded adult indulgence, except for the fingernails, more a nervous habit though than pre-adolescent hope physique. My sister munched doodle bugs. I caught her under the ligustrums, mouth caked with muddy smut, thumping roly-polies until they tucked into compact spheres, then chopped, admiring the crunch. I think because my parents disapproved, hoarding those esoteric pleasures for themselves. At least that's what we thought. While terrassing through the house, peeling off flaky paint chips, rock fights across the alley, cricket hunts along the creek bed, smacking headfirst into the walls. Now even too lethargic to run in place with scissors, swallowing more sophisticated poisons. I used to hold a mirror under my chin, look down and pretend that I walked across the ceiling. Made a point to veer around the toadstool light fixtures, step over door jambs like bulkheads on childhood dreams. And outside I stood on the undersides of clouds, gazed upon my suburban neighborhood, sputtering laughter to myself. I wasn't stupid, just naive, eager to crack open the shell of that crustacean we call popularity, wondering why the pretty kids didn't care to play with me, accept me as I was, a chubby nerd oozing facile jokes I didn't even laugh at. But no one would talk to me in my elementary class, except that skinny brat with pigtails and scabs on knobby knees, who ate paste like cashews. Another pariah in the pecking order. Coke bottle rhinestone spectacles and orthopedic shoes, first with braces, last with tits. And even I shunned her, not from disdain, but timidity, and a little suspicion that anyone could like me. That's why I still adore any flat-chested redhead with pigeon toes and overbites. She probably grew as twisted as me. I wonder what she's swallowing now. Okay. Blossom. Does the poet smell flowers upon his demise each morning in minute increments, half-remembered fragrances from a distant dream? Honeysuckle and iris, a hint of lavender. The pot of green tea grows bitter, mint wafts over from his neglected cup, and overlays the pale odor of death, masquerading as hyacinths and gardenia. Concluding the ritual of solemn ablutions, soap and shampoo and shaving cream, the nick of razor across unguarded throat. A drop of blood blossoms in the basin. The poet swirls water, diesel, and widdershins, each day cheating the astringent grave, crossing out words scratched onto tablets, rewritten and reobliterated, each night surrendering to inevitability, enveloped in aromatic slumbers. Okay, that's old stuff. Get it? $5, cheap. Now this is more newer stuff, really. And this one, Hey, have y'all seen the moon out there? You're welcome. I did that. I did that for her, my sweet baby. Luna, I'm the architect of your moon, cobbled together daily from scraps of memory, pocket lint, ribbon strands, sequins, glitter, gray hairs, saliva, semen, cookie crumbs, and mango pits. Assembled in secret devotion, crafted by these two hands from tools I have fabricated, expressive for this purpose. With tiny nail and bent paper clip, dangled from the indigo sky, ever so carefully arranged, as the yawning sun slips off. All this I do to see the delight reflecting the moon in your eyes. Yeah, this is something I wrote after I got arrested for being that guy. The little things. Sometimes you can't catch a break. It's the little things that wear you down. Bled to death by 1,000 paper cuts. Brought low by a preponderance of insignificant annoyances. The prisons are full of the aftermath of threadbare tires and broken saucers. I'm a proud patron of DART.
Yeah.
There's always a plethora of interesting things that you can glean from riding on DART buses. This is my bus that I'm going to read about now. Number 111. 42?
24. West End.
Oh, Kayla.
Sorry.
Number 111. All the junkies on the bus seem to know one another. From years of past glories, swapping war stories, and praise of those not present. Duquesne tried to light a rock, a $50 rock. It went up in his face, exploded his heart, killed his ass like that. You gotta be smarter than the drug you're doing. Smith got hold of some black Mexican tar, holed up with some skank over my fair park. Refuses to answer the door for going on a week now. I haven't seen you lately. I went into rehab. Good for you. I haven't used in 2.5 weeks. Cops threw Emmanuel in jail. They expected him in probation. Popped before the metal detectors. Probably all those traffic warrants. My son, my 12-year-old, been locked up more times than me. Got himself a little attitude problem. Cece forgot her baby on the bus when she got up last week. Where are you staying? A little house over yonder behind the liquor store. Well, ain't that convenient? Sometimes I have dark moments. This is called That Pragmatic Approach to Suicide.
Yeah.
There's something unseemly about overdone barbecue in an unseasonable downpour. As the tub fills with warm water, as 7 knives scrape over the home, a murder of crow alights on bird bath, a squirrel with mosquito larvae. The flavor of gun oil, faint aroma of bitter almonds, Vicodins, half-liter of Bushmills. As the tower crumbles, the sensation of falling, wind tossing the hair. Someone will have to clean this up. The blood and vomit, the urine and feces. I carry stress in the jaw, set tight like a boxer, preparing for impact. The bullets go back in the box. The pistol goes back in the drawer. All things in due time. So, I used to actually have a car, and I was driving around by White Rock on the way to work one time, and just saw this, and it really struck with me. It's called Winter at White Rock. A pewter sky, leaden and heavy, grim as a death rictus. The wind swirls, sharp as the nails that work their way into my tires, flattening my impotent dreams. And the cotton ball fog tiptoes across the lake, diaphanous tumbleweeds, cascading over the spillway like dry ice vapor from a carnival witch's kettle. How sin tastes. This is from her cream pies. She makes these badass cream pies. So when I saw that, when I took the taste of this coconut cream pie, it's just like, oh God, this is how sin tastes. I know how sin tastes, as it congeals both sweet and savory, the slightest salinity, its heady piquancy. I know its texture, its consistency at the tip of the tongue, the heft of it, the warm reverberations pass through the hand, the thwap on knuckles by angry nuns' rulers. I know how it smells. Its pungency enters the navel cavities, permeates the skin. It lingers in the air long after the act. I have seen the way sin draws the eyes toward it, a candle in the darkness for suicidal moths, alluring as a train wreck. I can't look away. I know its sound. It echoes in my ears, a sanguine throbbing, pulsing incessantly, staccato dubstep that can sludge almost deafening. The romance. Romance springs from the little things like shared omelets while under mosquito attack, or letting you impregnate me with kittens, or calculating where our ghostly haunting will occur the next 200 years, and the cautionary tales people might glean from my tragic and untimely demise. Tectonic insect. Smug as the cicadas, volcanic interactions as the plates shift slightly and continents collide, cobbling mountain ranges from its arthropod skin. Sky arches febrile spine toward oncoming sunrise. Tantric dance of firmament, an imperial lambada. Fault lines scrape along like cricket legs rubbed together, chirruping in ecstasy. Baptized in tongues of flame, seared in molten magma, blood through its open circulatory system. Springtime raindrops kissing clouds of folded wings and chitinous exoskeletons. The vibrating intensity of a millipede heart as smug as the cicadas. A moment. Tito Puente and earbuds, blue smoke spirals from cigarette and ashtray, coffee cools in cup, insects buzz bomb face, slight breeze bending springtime greenery. Crackle alights on fence, glances at me and ruffles feathers, imperious and aloof. Crisp aroma of blossoms, beckoned and fresh. The music slips into Herbie Hancock dolphin dance, waiting for her to call. As I fill my cup again, morning fills with promise, though she's miles away. Verb tense in the English language. Tell, verb, to elucidate distinctly a fact or a given set of facts. Present. I tell him that he should not pick his nose every time I see him. Future. I will tell him not to pick his nose the next time I see him. Past. I I told him that bad habit looked disgusting. Present perfect. I have told him on repeated occasions that picking his nose was both unsightly and unsanitary. Past perfect. I had told him his constant nosebleeds were a direct result of his thumb broken into his nostril. Redneck pluperfect. I done told him that finger gonna get stuck up there.
Oh yeah.
The poet at midnight. She composes poetry in a spiral cloud draped across a crescent moon, bold black letters circling the minuscule page as she measures meter and rhythm by the length of her arms and the palms of her hands, counting out syllables with fluttering fingertips and breath from her lips. Pen poised at pristine page, words waiting to awaken, sings sotto voce serenade against diaphanous backdrop of lavender and honey, and, defenseless man, I, drooling saccharine haikus, cannot help but love her. One more minute?
No.
One more. Okay. Entropy. Clutter expands until it overflows the boundaries of the area set aside for its retention. At first blush, refuting the second law of thermodynamics until one considers clutter analogous to entropy. Quod erat demonstrandum. An impartial observer emerges from his room at the crack of noon and postulates thusly: where the fuck did all this shit come from? When it seems apparent that two isolated systems came into close enough proximity overnight that they intersected, and the clutter contained in both approached equilibrium. Thank you very much. Who's afraid of Eudora Welty is on set.
Okay, and the wild card for the evening. Opalina. Opalina Salas, gosh. There are times I go about my day and I forget that I'm a poet. You know, it happens a lot. And when that happens, I think of Opalina. And I think of Opalina and her poetry, her love of the poetry, and the poet's family, and the child she raised by poetry, and the whole community that she has raised even higher by poetry. I call her queen of the scene, but I'm serious. You keep us moving. You know, you keep us moving and keep us afloat. Wow. You know. All right, so she's the creator and mother of Poets on the X reading series. She's owned Cliff Notes here in Oakciff with her husband Carlos Salas, the coolest bookstore ever. And since she's hosted, featured, cheerlead, Hip Chick, Queen of the Scene, work has appeared in many journals, including the Anthology of Texas Beat Poetry, published by the University of Texas Press. Her work's right alongside of Jack Kerouac, and that's where it should be. That's where it should be. Opalina Salas.
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I don't know how to go after all of you guys.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Because sometimes, yes, I do forget I'm a poet. but then I have all these wonderful people around me to remind me what life is worth, why life is worth living. It goes that deep. I'm going to read some things that are old and some things that are new. Not that you care. I just wanted to let you know that some of the things I'm going to be reading in between some of the poems are some of the things that I've been working on for the past month. So thank you so much for listening. And I think that what I'm working on right now is probably closest to who I really am than anything I've ever written before in its simplest form. And it's prose. It was fall when we first moved into the house on the cul-de-sac on the edge of the world. Far out past the junkyard and railroad crossing, past the tiendita where we would buy penny candies and cartons of milk to drink with dinner. Past the center of town where the sewing shop was. Past the preschool where they fed us beets and lima beans and the rugs smelled like piss. Once we hit the sparseness in the fields, started to open their cornrow melodies against the beating dirt-lined roads. As we drove past and the flocks of blackbirds swooped in and around the dusty tires as we rode on, I had forgotten about the gritty alleys and the iron bars on our front door and windows. Mother opened up the window and I smelled hay for the first time and sneezed. The rumbling truck came to a halt at the end of the circle we turned into, with houses of every shape and size, with browning but manicured and well-cut lawns. There were bikes in the driveway, some with scattered toys and tire swings hanging from trees. Kids lived there. I began to bounce in my seat as we stopped in our new driveway, pristine white siding and off-white bricks. Crepe myrtles with their last blooms of pink, and oak burnishing its orange and gold, turning red leaves into the dull autumn gray. A small, strange tree with short trunks and wild limbs, turning like arms up to the sky with tiny leaves that would come to find out would never die or turn color because it was an evergreen. 3 steps to the white wood door, a tiny concrete porch, and a 2-car garage. Suburbia at its finest. They had told me I was a big girl now, so I deserved my own room. The walls had been painted a Pepto-Bismol pink for my arrival, and in the corner was the most magnificent bed I'd ever seen. Pink canopy with frills and soft pillows. Mine? I began to examine every inch of the house, and my first discovery was that the previous tenant had left some things in the garage. A cigar box with about 20 assorted miniature ceramic animals. A green flat turtle with magnificent flippers. A white kitten with cartoon face features. A doe with exaggerated eyelashes and a come-hither smile. A dopey brown dog with large ears hanging past its chin. And many, many more. A menagerie. A menagerie for a lonely, fat girl. And I wondered who would leave their babies alone. Sometimes they call me Sylvia too. Okay. Sylvia's kitchen. The black pale drop of light ignites my flight. High above the stacked dishes of despair and coughing cats. Far above the piles of unwashed layers, the mounds of poetry never sent, and boxes of journals unkept, ideals and egos smoldering unarranged. Dishpan hands turn the wind as rudders do a barge, slow and deliberate, years of scribbles and wasted breath, a sigh and a heave as alas, the world's last laugh leaves us sputtering in the unswept hails of life. Wiping remnants of hope into overflowing trash bins, cigarette butts smoked in desperation, wine bottles dead soldiers in the dust. There is no gift of flight as wings melt with mediocrity, and words fail when dulled with monotony, and feet get stuck on sticky prose and fours. Better the rags for polishing stones than build walls too tall to climb. Thick and dumb like last night's pills, Sylvia knew it well. And in the swell of the chamber, Betty Crocker and Jim Beam, Shakespeare sonnets and TV guides. Halting daydreams in their gauzy slip, no copper for the platinum falls for wishes. Get back to the dishes. The baby's sick again. Long winter stories. I could fall again. Chuck first into oblivion, love, and whatnot, dreaming gauzy hazes of places, deep forests, or foggy streets, people twisting memories of fictitious encounters, hot like a winter's cup of coffee between sweater-cuffed hands, and a blow. She circles my mind at 19. Volkswagen car crashes and running to the highway, leaving me married and alone, blog writing and miserable. Writing winter stories that are better to tell than to live out loud. Frozen toes on campus quad, lost socks and pale faces with food poisoning. Beer binges and green swimming pools, suburban seaweed washed up and steaming like false lips and letting go of anchors. Mermaid me dipping under the promise of some muttered love, thinking I'd read the change in her eyes. And neither of us was sure what we were looking for, she and her twisting, me and my constant dipping under frosty ponds with trapped fishes under snowflake impressions. Winter stories written, pure fiction for the both of us, for her folly, for my salvation, because I was a writer constructing my world with moist car windows and crashing stars, hiding destiny in baggy jeans and taped up breasts. I could fall again. Combat boots forward, hair combed back, blank expression because it's not good to pretend, eyes not open to devour or tattle, the flames of the teenage games we played, and you still believe in rock stars and penises and suffer under their guise. Who is really that wise? I'm writing fake stories. You're dancing invisible pen strokes with your hips and tits. My seed is planted deep inside of you, just waiting for spring to make its escape. The town sprawled out from itself, a flat land surrounded on the outskirts by cotton and hay fields. Its name came from someone who found themselves in this inverted mesa, maybe even a ground zero of an explosion of some kind of past civilization. Its body of land was intersected by a creek of 10 miles that snaked its way behind some of the biggest and most luxurious homes of town, while also curving into abandoned lots with tree limbs blocking off the properties. From the car rides you took daily, you know that the tree line meant running water, tadpoles in the spring, and fat toads in the summertime. The clean, clear water which ran from the spring your father took you to see once after a long slosh against the moving water, jeans rolled up over knees, at one point chest deep and arms raised with the glimmering sunlight cutting laser lines between the spaces of the country leaves above. The spring, somehow magically muttering from one small muddy hole up that endless gentle incline, clear, clean, undulating, all that time from perhaps years and years ago. The wonder of life is this, how things just exist on their own accord without you knowing about it. That one day you do find out, your world then becomes a very magical place. It will begin to become your life's work to find these beginnings, to have grace in the notion that all things will come to an end. Summer breeze by Seals and Croft. You're sitting in a hot back seat of the 1970s model Plymouth in polyester shorts and itchy lime green tube top, nothing actually filling it in. Flat chest of 6 years, knees perpetually skinned and bruised. Even to this day, you're always in such a hurry you bump and scratch on every surface you come in contact with. You are a continuous body and soul in various states of healing processes. Now it's late morning, and swinging feet and pink plastic flip-flops kick the back of the driver's seat, burgundy vinyl sticks to the sweaty stubs of chubby legs. Mother sewed those shorts, blue with white patterned clusters of flowers that stretch out unrecognizable over baby fat you still carry. Baby fat, baby fat. It is very hard for her to find clothes to fit you at this age, so she goes to the fabric shops to buy scraps of fabric to sew into basic, very basic shorts and pants. This is the fabric store. You plunge your short arms into the bins of buttons to feel the cool plastic discs glide between your fingers. You stand and play quietly with the sensation of what wind chimes must feel like when they tingle. The style of your day dictates that everything you wear for the first 10 years of your life is polyester and tight. You have no choice in the matter. Money is fleeting, and you wear what you're given. But what you really want is a t-shirt with the Bee Gees on it, with your name on iron-on fuzzy orange letters on the back. Hey, look, there she is. How clever for her to have a name on her shirt. I was wondering where that great kid was. I could be famous like little Janet Jackson doing her Mae West impression. I had gumption and cuteness. I had moxie. But I didn't have the clothes that matched that. Always in the car, always on the move. First you go to the grocery store, you hoist a plastic crate with empties into a slot, and the lady behind the counter gives you a quarter, and a dime, and a nickel. A nickel in a box gets you Brock's candy. Chocolate coconut is your favorite. Mom picks ground beef in the family-sized packs, dried beans, milk, cottage cheese, iceberg lettuce, tomato, a glass liter of Coke, marshmallow cookies, Captain Crunch, peanut butter, black olives, and sardines. Next to the quesadas, Baby Ida calls you Annalisa, and you don't know why. The Quesada family is girls, 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 and you don't know quite how many because you can't count that high yet. The back bedroom is where they all share. It's all really a TV room, entertainment den with sunken area in the back of the continuous room, always a stage where the two beds are. There are clothes, shoes, and bras. Bras everywhere. The girls range from 13 to 18, all teenagers, and even Baby Ida isn't a baby, and that confuses you as well. Their mom is tough, leathery brown, almost red skin, pockmarked with acne scars, but she doesn't scare you because she is kind and sweeps you up in her thick tortilla-slapping hands and meat-cutting arms and makes you feel warm. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I have just a few, and that's it. Thank you. I like the poets who are raw. I chew up their dirty words that burn like whiskey, stink like gin, and linger in the air like exhaled cigarettes. I savor and swallow them whole like consummate lovers and shots of Patron. They give me twinges of nostalgia for my daddy, the fantasized version with lonely birds sitting somewhere in a dark bar or pissy alleyway. He never knowing of me, but knowing he bore the grit of a million streets under my fingernails. He made me this way, impure, uncouth, undone. I like the poets who are raw and take knife-sharpened pencils to brown paper bags like religion, creating blackbird lines of prosaic truths that fly on broken wings into empty rain-sick streets. I like their smell. Car exhaust and gasoline pauses between their lines of rambling spunk like pools off a bottle, wiping their work-stained shirts with oil, ink, and tire-marked descriptions, while exhaling their beer breath sighs under layers of old spice. I like the poets who are raw and smear drunken, shit-stained tragedies in their alcohol-drenched laments of lost love and shattered bottles reflected in smoggy dead moonlight shrouds of their mind, writing and fighting, hard muscles concealed behind their bloodshot eyes. They might as well be singing Billie Holiday lullabies to a sleepy orphan girl like me. Yes, I like the poets that are raw and gnaw into my Bukowski daydreams, typewriters pounded with bleeding fingertips, spilling words for the lifeless suckers too blind to what only those, my exquisite bastards, can see. And when they speak, like dirty needles rifling under my skin, I know I'm not alone. I know I found my home. Yes, I like the poets that are raw. And this will be my last piece. And this is for Alan Ginsberg, who, believe it or not, is listening all the time.
Of course.
Alan on X. Take us, purple horse delirium, to vowels of gowls, rag drunk on tears and divine revolutions, dream of your flesh heart longings. Be drunk skeletons, be insane, be sane, sing the wild curses of your tender hearts and bow to no one. Howl your inception and make it vibrate the stars for an eternity. Delight the wolf's blue eyes and superstitious shadows invented in the alchemy of your being. Be sane, be insane, be naked with angels and babble insanities and cloud speak chariots, trembling, trembling the skies fantastical. Be the confessor of your being, and never-ending celebrate and kick the sky open of hallucinated languages. Boo the babble of seasoned speeches, blubbering disorder. Baptize your movements in beating heart lullabies, and love your life. Thank you.
Yeah.